How many more fights would you say? I know you said maybe one, but come on.
I don't know, 1, 2.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not one of those guys. I told you, I'm not one of those guys who's gonna be fighting until I'm 45 and I'm punchy.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now, no. How? He fought in one division. He had a
Yeah, but he
WBC,
didn't unify all four.
WBA,
He wasn't undisputed. He
no,
wasn't
no,
undisputed.
he wasn't. No, what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But like once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish.
Terence Crawford has fired back at Errol Spence Jr. after Spence unexpectedly challenged him to a rematch. Crawford believes fighting Spence again is just an easy payday because the outcome wouldn't change. It might even be worse than before. Many thought their rivalry had ended after Spence was knocked out cold 2 years ago, but it seems to be
my accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right now.
Spence is gearing up for a return to the ring, and out of all the options available to him, he set his sights on Crawford. However, this decision wasn't entirely his own. Spence was provoked into it after hearing Crawford's remarks on a podcast where Crawford questioned whether Spence was even worthy of being in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Many boxing professionals, including Spence, found Crawford's comments to be disrespectful considering Spence's impressive career. Bouncing back from a near-fatal car crash to defeat top-tier fighters and unify 3...
Is there ever a possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence? Or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
The possibility is there.
I'm walking over my feet. You know, I want to get out the game. I got kids, got a mom and dad, and, you know, they want to enjoy me. So, you know.
Welterweight division. 3. Spence believes that one loss shouldn't define his career or erase his 28 wins and 22 knockouts. He refuses to argue about it, instead choosing to prove his point in the ring. His goal? To defeat Crawford and remove any doubts about his Hall of Fame status. In response to Spence's challenge, Crawford didn't hold back. He hit Spence with a ruthless reply, saying any fight with...
You know, everything got to come to the end, and, you know, sadly, just definitely got to come to the end. So I'm definitely going to get out while I still can and not either be forced out or I have to keep fighting because I need money.
add one more belt, though.
The boxing world is currently debating whether Spence deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. This conversation gained traction after Crawford brought it up on the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo. Crawford stated that if he retired today, his achievements would guarantee him a place in the Hall of Fame, but he wasn't sure Spence would receive the same honor. Crawford pointed out that Spence is still trying to
Showed a lot of poise, broke him down, and was able to stop him at the end.
Everybody's wondering what's going on with you and Terence Crawford. This fight going to happen?
I think it's going to happen. We both want to fight. I want to fight. He wants to fight. And, you know, it's going down to negotiations. So I definitely going to get the fight this year. And we're going to square off this year with the biggest fight in boxing.
It is the biggest fight in boxing. Where and when, if you were guessing?
I don't know where, I don't know when, but it's definitely going to be this year.
All right.
Crawford argued that Spence had only fought in one division, never unified all the belts, and never became undisputed. He also noted that critics have called Spence a weight bully, and that his win over Kell Brook came when Brook was coming off a loss and an eye injury. Since the podcast aired, Crawford has faced backlash from fans and boxing analysts. Among those weighing in on the debate is former WBO super featherweight champion Jamal Herring, who disagreed.
Fandor, for his title, I'm fighting for a title, and there's the possibility. He win this fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing. And there's your possibility right there.
Herring pointed out that Spence defeated every world champion in the division to unify the belts, and none of those titles were vacant. He reminded everyone that Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Eudenis Ugas were all reigning champions when Spence beat them. The 39-year-old also praised Spence's victories over Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia, especially considering Spence's comeback from a near-fatal car crash. Herring highlighted Spence's ability to sell out arenas and draw pay-per-view numbers, arguing that his impact on the sport is undeniable. He concluded that losing once to one of the best in the sport doesn't erase Spence's accomplishments. Spence is Hall of Fame material. 7. Meanwhile, one of Spence's former opponents, Ydenis Ugas, has also spoken out. Spence and Ugas faced off in April 2024 before Crawford ended Spence's undefeated run. Spence secured a 10th round TKO against Ugas, leaving the Cuban fighter with an injured eye. Despite that, Ugas has no hard feelings toward Spence. In response to Crawford's comments, Ugas tweeted, "Even if Spence retired today, he'd be a Hall of Famer." Like Herring, Ugas pointed out Spence's resilience, noting that he returned from both a car crash and eye surgery to win titles. He described Spence's journey Ugas also expressed that he was honored to have shared the ring with Spence and hopes to see him return stronger. "Fighters are opponents, not enemies," he said. Ever since Crawford won the WBO welterweight title in 2018 with a TKO victory over Jeff Horn, fans had been calling for a fight between him and Spence. However, promotional conflicts got in the way. Crawford was with Top Rank, while Spence was aligned with PBC. The two companies rarely did business together, delaying the matchup. But when Crawford became a free agent in 2021 after stopping Sean Porter in the 10th round, negotiations for a fight with Spence finally gained momentum. Talks nearly led to a deal in September, but fell apart.
Man, I got a lot of skill sets I feel like advantages over him. But at the end of the day, I feel like this fight is basically so even. You know, it's going to be more about just being more focused and, you know, not getting out of focus, especially in the later rounds, just making sure, staying on point all throughout the fight and making sure you don't lose focus, because that's how.
Crawford instead went on to knock out David Avanesian in the 6th round in December, fighting in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. Meanwhile, Spence's last fight before facing Crawford was in April 2022, when he stopped Ydenis Ugas in the 10th round in Arlington, Texas, to claim a 3rd welterweight title. That fight marked Spence's return after undergoing surgery for a detached retina in August 2021. Originally, Spence was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao that year, but had to pull out due to the eye injury. His comeback performance against Ugas showed he was still at the top of his game. It wasn't the first time Spence had rebounded from adversity. He had already returned from a serious car crash in October 2019 and 14 months later, defeated Danny Garcia by decision. Many boxers have had to retire due to detached retina injuries, but Spence made a comeback, just as Sugar Ray Leonard did.
Nothing really surprised me. He was just like I thought. It's just my timing wasn't good today.
Questions for Errol Spence Jr.
Hey, Errol, Keith Heidick from BoxingScene.com. What do you attribute your timing not being there to? Did you feel off physically or anything, or what was wrong in the fight?
The conversation about Spence's Hall of Fame status reignited after Crawford defeated him on July 29, 2023, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. In front of a sold-out crowd of 19,990 fans, Crawford dominated the fight and stopped Spence in the 9th round, Making history as the first undisputed welterweight champion since 2006, he also became the first male boxer in the four-belt era to achieve undisputed status in two weight classes. This victory marked Crawford's 11th consecutive stoppage win, with 9 of those finishes coming.
Your timing not being there too, did you feel off physically or anything, or what was wrong in the fight?
Yeah, felt a little off physically, but most times I get through it. So, I thought it was gonna be just like the other times, but I couldn't kick it up a notch.
Crawford's performance that night was nothing short of a masterclass. He took control early, knocking Spence down for the first time in his career in the second round. Spence, who was used to being the aggressor, found himself outclassed. By the end of the fight, he had been dropped 3 times, a rare sight for such a highly accomplished fighter. Crawford's precision was on full display, landing 60% of his power punches and 42% of his jabs. His 87 landed jabs were the most Spence had ever.
I always tell everybody, I don't go in there looking for the knockout. I go looking for the win. But if he get out of line, he's going to be the next one down.
Spence started the fight by applying pressure, but Crawford remained patient, waiting for the right moments to counter. Late in the first round, Crawford exposed an opening in Spence's defense, giving a glimpse of his strategy. In the second round, Crawford landed a stiff left jab, sending Spence to the canvas for the first time in his career. From that moment on, Crawford's power became the defining factor. He dominated Spence in the 4th and 5th rounds, landing precise counterpunches and pushing Spence back with relentless accuracy. The fight was no longer a question of if, but when Crawford would finish the job. He dropped Spence 2 more times before sealing the win with a 9th round TKO.
I'm about to take my belt off then.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Errol?
You gonna need more than the belt. I don't know what you talking about. I ain't one of your kids.
I'm
You
going to
gonna
treat
need
you.
more than the belt. I ain't one of your
I'm going
kids.
to treat you like one.
Yeah, all right, we gonna see.
All right, we definitely going to see.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the main event of the evening. Brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed.
I got a feel for his power. Probably like first, second round. He's a strong dude, but everybody at this top level have some type of power. But I think because my time was out, he was catching me in between shots.
I get to say I told y'all because I've been asking for these fights for years. And y'all been saying, oh, he's too small. He's going to get this. He's going to get broken.
Went ahead and put it all on the line. Round of applause to both Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. for providing us an unbelievable boxing theater in Las Vegas. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now I want to bring up, he is the first male boxer to be undisputed champion in 2 divisions for the first time in the 4-belt era. There is an undisputed welterweight champion of the world. This man, 40 wins, no losses. He remains undefeated here tonight. The best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, from Omaha, Nebraska, we present to you